First of all, thanks for having us here. I think it's one of the best conferences an entrepreneur can go to. I will start with our new video clip because last time I think we showed our old video clip that's running on TV. And my co-founder Christian's idea was actually to do something similar to Fielman and just say, let's show our real customers. Because we also had the experience on Facebook that people were saying, this cannot be real, it's not real customers. We said, we're buying 25,000 cars a month. That's like bigger than several OEMs. Let's just post on Facebook every hour real customers. And then we would post them and post them and post them. And everybody said like happy customer pictures. And then people got to understand, okay, these are real customers. And we said, let's also show it on TV and ask our real customers if they want to be on TV. And yeah, luckily they want to be. So perhaps we can see the clip for 20 seconds.
Im Internet Termin bekommen.
Halbe Stunde, was erledigt. Und das Geld war innerhalb von 3 Tagen auf meinem Konto.
Wir kaufen dein Auto. Einfach kostenlos online bewerten, Termin in einer Filiale in deiner Nähe buchen und schnell und sicher verkaufen. Gehe jetzt auf wirkaufendeinauto.de.
Weltklasse.
Weltklasse, that's what he said. Yeah. So, yeah, I think what I will do is just run briefly through what we're doing for everybody who doesn't know us, and then perhaps get a little more into detail with Marco. So, who's Auto1 Group? And what are we solving? We're solving 2 problems. We have customers who want to sell cars, or actually any car that gets on the market that needs a new buyer and needs liquidity. And we have dealers who are in the need for stock and supply. And we are connecting them through technology, but also through retail operations. So just to flip through the process, we have a customer that we attract with TV marketing, with online marketing. We have an online pricing module. We have a retail operation where we inspect the car, we buy it, and then bring it back into the professional channel where these are retailed so that the dealer actually can focus on his core job. Yeah. The car industry, and I think we have some automotive people here, always like units. Yeah, that's the real KPI in the car industry is how many units do you trade? And I think we've shown a nice hockey stick here in terms of traction, just by connecting 2 very interesting and interested sides of the market. And that is how you can actually get to that growth. And when I looked at the numbers from November when we were at NOAH, we said we're expecting 750 million of revenues. I'm glad that we actually did 1% more than expected and not less. So, the magic behind this is becoming a supplier. I think most important thing about our business is, yes, we are a marketplace, but we don't have to buy both ends of the market. Yeah, so if you have a nice offer and really something that brings value to the table for a dealer and for a professional player in the market, you become a supplier. And a supplier is a very different relationship than having to actually acquire your customers over and over again. And that's why we have this phenomenal growth. I think it's bigger than several OEM networks in Europe, and this is all these European countries that we are selling to. And that's it. Happy for your questions, Marco.
Okay. So huge market, and unlike in gaming, where you saw like business models evolving and mobile and disruption, and there's always like a new kid on the block. The only disruption we really saw in the automotive market was the newspaper companies losing their classified revenues, to the Mobiles and the Auto Scouts of the world. What does that mean for you, this kind of disruption back then?
I think they did a great job, and that is what actually paved our way. So the first wave of disruption, it's now actually 20 years ago. Mobile started 20 years ago. What did it do to the automotive industry? And there are 2 main things that it did to the dealers. In the old days, where you would have to collect your info from the newspapers, the dealer was actually dominating local price and stock transparency. So you would, I'm only talking in the universe of used cars, where you have unique items that just exist once and they are in stock. So you would go to the dealer and he would tell you what's available. And that is dramatically shifted. because now you can filter what you want and it will show you the dealers who have it. Now what it does is, it puts pressure on the dealer to first time think about, what is the right stock? Oh no, I'm a retailer now. Do I need red cars? What happens with the people who come on the weekend? Do I need convertibles in summer? And it really puts pressure on them, on being retailer and having good stock management. But on the other hand, it allows them to have all this reach, because all of a sudden there are people in Hamburg buying a car in Munich. So they need to get long tail interesting stock. That's effect number one. Effect number two, interestingly, is this works so well that the customer lifetime value of the dealer drops. And the reason is, people out of the addressable zip code region come and become customers to buy the car. But the young man who comes from Hamburg on a train to buy a fast car in Munich, he will not come back for the oil change. And what it has done to the dealers is that the utilization of the workshop, which accounts for 60% of the contribution margin of such a dealership, has gone down. And that's the second challenge for the dealer that came through the classifieds. Yes, I sell more cars, but 2/3 of the people never come back.
You lose your client, or you never have a client.
Yes. You have a one-time customer and you're banking on a relationship. And the smart dealers had to adapt now. So they say, if I lose 60%, 70% of my addressable customer base, I need to sell more units. Because I don't want to scale endlessly. I just want to get back to my workshop utilization. And that way, what it has done for us is that the dealer is forced to think about the right stock. And there's where we come into place, because his demand is long tail. He has the retail customer. So he needs a supply that is long tail. And that is where we are unique in Europe. And I mean, the second thing is, he just needs to do more units. So now he needs a scalable channel for this supply.
Are you becoming like a stock exchange for used cars, and the dealers are connected to it and are allowed to source from you? Because you buy cars from consumers who find you on the web, and then they drive with the car to the parking lot and they get their cash in 30 minutes usually. While the buyer are the dealers, right? So what is your value add to the dealers, and how do you change the industry?
I mean, first of all, we are location agnostic. Europe for us is one market, and that's very different to any other dealer or OEM approach. So the secondary market, we tear down all the borders, if you like. And that has the effect, if you think about a cross-border transaction, that let's say a dealer in Germany who wants to buy a Fiat.
How expensive is it to send these cars around? Like I buy a car in Lisbon and I'm sitting in Paris, what do I need to pay, or what do you guys need to pay the transport company?
I think it will be roughly 300 euros.
So it's relatively low price.
Yeah, it will be on a truck and safe and insured. So, and what happens is, for these cross-border transactions, we solve 3 issues for the dealer. So you're sitting in Germany, or let's stick to my example. You're a dealer in Germany, you want to buy a Fiat in Italy. So the first thing is information asymmetry. How would you ever know that a guy in Milan wants to sell his Fiat? You don't. So we bridge that, and that could be push and it can be pull. So the dealer can actually put in search requests. He can say, I'm looking for a Fiat Cinquecento, this mileage, this age. And when somebody just enters a branch anywhere in Europe, he'll be notified, he'll have his dealer app, he will be, so he can react immediately. The second thing is, even if you knew there is a car in Milan, your friend was there last weekend, he says, someone's selling a car in Milan. How do you know the car is the car? How do you know the car is all right? How do you know the car is still available? And these are all cost factors that the dealer would have to hedge.
So Auto1 certifies that the car is what the car is because you have a continuous relationship with the dealer?
Exactly. So we have an iPad-based process that is always the same. We do it thousands and thousands of times a day, and the dealer always sees the same data set, the same pictures, the same angles. So he can really focus on what is about the car, not how is it described. It's always the same. So the second problem we're solving is, with the clearinghouse, he knows that it's available and that it's good and is as described. And when you think about the third thing, even if he knew there is a car in Milan, and if he would know that the car is the car for whatever reasons, they wouldn't transact. How would he do it? He would call some random guy in Milan and say, I'm coming in 3 weeks, please keep it for me. And the guy in Milan would say, wire me the money, you can do what you want, otherwise I sell it. And here's where we come into play, because we're the single face to the customer. The consumer walks in, he wants liquidity, and he wants actually a very clean and fair process. And the next day he wants his money. And the dealer wants to know that he's actually dealing with a professional party on an ongoing basis. And if he wires bigger amounts, there's also a big balance sheet behind it, and people aren't running away. So both ends have transaction security, and we are enabling these across all countries in Europe. We sell to 23 countries, and they are the weirdest combinations. And actually, what we buy in Germany, in some months more than half of it leaves the country, because it's the price level in another country is different, and that could be perception of the consumer. A Renault is worth more in France because people see that it's an attractive car in their environment, but also there's supply. They know somebody who has a workshop, so the consumer also prices that in, and that is what we bring to the table as value, and that's why we are at the end of the day in a position where the dealer gets everything that he needs: price, selection, convenience, and the customer gets a very good price.
And recently you told me that one of the strategic directions, since you have now close to 20,000 dealers, is involving the OEMs. And I think there are two aspects to where you can add value. Can you explain?
Yeah, I think for the OEMs and for dealers, and now we're getting to know each other more and more. I mean, we have to see we're a little more than 3.5 years old company. We start with 1 branch, 2 branch, we make noise, people see that we're buying those cars, we have all the traffic. And of course people ask themselves, what are these guys doing and why are they getting the customers? And our first branch that we opened is just across the street from a Volkswagen dealership. And in the very first day he came over and said, good luck guys, this is a dying industry, what are you doing? And then he saw that people are lining up 40 cars a day to get evaluated and actually sell their car. And he thought it's magic. He wouldn't understand how this works. And at the end of the day, this foot traffic that we're generating, and now we're talking about these days, more than 1 million consumers a year who come physically with their car to any location that we want, has tremendous value for the OEM. Because we are not retailing cars. We only sell to dealers. We want professional partners. We focus on the real professional players in the automotive industry, whereas the dealers and the OEMs, their main goal is to retail a new car. And
so you can bring traffic to the OEMs for new car sales?
Yes, of course. We can.
So how is that going, those discussions? You know, our whole conference concept in Berlin is to bring together companies like you and the old traditional big companies. You get any tractions with the automotive companies, or is it hard to get through the gatekeepers of the decision makers?
I think in very big corporations, it's hard always to knock on the right door, but we have good leads. We have good meetings lined up with German OEMs. The dinner yesterday was helpful. So you introduced me to a big German OEM, but we're open for discussions. Yeah, I mean this goes both ways. If somebody calls us, we definitely answer the phone. Yeah?
Well, Hakan, congratulations for setting up an amazing business, and good luck for you.